Yeah.
Hello, hello.
It was like,
Hello?
I mean, all it was is
All right, you guys, thank you for coming to seminar today. I appreciate the happiness and how excited everybody seems.
this.
And we will start off with an opening prayer by Big Man Kobe.
It's like Elongation.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day. We're grateful for the chance that we have to bow our heads before thee and give thee thanks for the blessings that we have in our life. Father, as we come before thee, we ask that we can be able to retain the information that we're taught today and be able to use it in our future and be able to be grateful for the opportunity to be here at Brigham Young University and studying the field that we're in. And we're so grateful for all these things. And we ask a special blessing on our speaker that he can have the Spirit to lead and guide him to teach us the things that we need to know. We're so grateful for these things once again and say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
All right, it's easier just to hold this in my hand. So we're going to start off with some announcements. So Tau Beta Pi is doing this Engineering Futures Workshop, and this link is on the blog. All right, so if you're interested in this at all, you can look up on our ASCE blog, and all the information will be on there. The COB luncheon, Richie's got some information on that.
Yeah, really quick, guys. This is going to be an awesome opportunity for all of you to come and network with local engineers. They hold this, well, first of all, CUB stands for Central Utah Branch. So basically all the local members of ASCE who are already graduated and practicing in their fields attend this lunch, and there's usually a speaker and some food. So we're going to have Costa Vida, and our speaker will be the athletic director, Tom Homo. And it should be great. So please come. The sign up is right there, tinyurl.com/CUB luncheon. So please sign up and come. It'll be awesome activity. Thanks.
All right, this is the next important announcement. So I know last night an email went around saying that that was the last night for resumes to be sent in. Logan was nice and he extended the deadline to Friday, but we've only got a couple of spots left. So if you really want to do this, which I think is a great opportunity, they're getting close to 20 companies coming out to this networking dinner. And if you're an ASCE member, like from our student body, you get in for free, which is very nice for the quality of meal that you're getting and for the networking opportunities. So make sure if you want to do this, sign up ASAP and get your email sent in. Information for this is also on the blog. Also, volunteer for the STEM fair. A lot of people have had great experience from this. You get to, like Richie got to drive the van and got to talk to several people. It's great for networking, and it's a big fundraising event for us. So make sure you sign up. And like I said, the link for this is also on the blog. So if you ever have any questions, the blog is the answer. Silicon Slopes, this is another cool opportunity for service. There'll be a tech summit, but they'll also be putting packages together for hungry children. So this can be February 1st, and you can knock out all your service hours doing this. So you get to do a cool activity. So that. Do you want to talk about this? Okay. Okay.
So if you're in 361, this is a good opportunity to get some of your trips.
Yeah, you have to do a bus trip through 360.
Yeah, you could easily do 3 or 2 transits and knock this out because this event's in Salt Lake. So if you have questions.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. T-shirt competition. So we talked about it. So keep getting your t-shirts designs in. We've been getting a couple in the emails. But the winner we talked about is going to get a special prize. And everybody wants a special prize. So please come up with your designs and be sending those in. Winner gets a polo. And then Rocky Mountain Conference. Where is Shane at? Do you want to just come up and say some things?
So yeah, RMC, if you haven't signed up, please sign up. Deadline is on Monday the 28th. Before the deadline, you have to have a paid registration, turn in the risk and release form to Jolene, and sign up on the sheet. So this link will take you to all the other links, so just click that first. Any questions, RMC?
And you should know anybody who's participating on any of the teams has to be registered. So if you're on the canoe team or the steel bridge team, get registered. Or if you are going to give a paper or participate in any way, you got to know it. This is the deadline, so take care.
And you get to spend more time with Shane. So. So we'll also be doing an internship workshop, and this is for anybody that has had past internships. We want to get better communication and better networking with the freshmen. So if you've had an internship, if you have some experience you want to share, if you want to gain some more experience, we'll be doing this Thursday, January 31st in 321 of the new engineering building. And the intramurals. Michael, do you want to come talk about this?
Sure. We've got 4 teams right now. A 5th team, flags football, will be starting up in about a month. We're gonna start announcing the games when they're happening every week. So if you'd like to come out and cheer on the teams, feel free. Also, if you would still like to be on a team, email the BYU ASCE email, and we'll see if we can get you on a team.
And last but not least, is Jason Allen. So Jason Allen is known by anybody that's been here for several years as the donut guy, as you guys can tell. So, if you appreciate that, cheer a lot while he's speaking, then he'll want to come again. So he's a licensed professional engineer. He currently lives in Ogden. He did the drive today, which is pretty nice of him. He's got a wife and 4 sons. Prior to being the director of Mountain States Concrete Pipe Association, he worked as a consultant in project management, and he's done a lot of things for Morgan County. And he's a proud graduate of the University of Utah with bachelor and master's degrees in water resource engineering. And a fun fact about Jason, he's never been seen at the same time and same place as Batman. So, it might just merely be pointing out a coincidence, but it's a little suspicious, you know? You just never know. So anyways, give it up for Jason Allen, guys.
Thank you very much for having me back. It took a couple of years. We were just talking about the last time I was here. You mentioned that you remember the donuts. So as last time, I'm your boss today. I'm going to be talking a lot about jobs that I've had in my career. I'm going to be telling a lot of stories. So your payment is for sitting through my stories and laughing at all my jokes are these donuts. So, the harder you laugh, the more donuts you can probably get. Every time I come to a class like this, I try to choose one person to single out to pick on, because yes, I alienate one person, but everyone else laughs and loves me. So that one person, we're going to be mortal enemies for the rest of my life. But the rest of you will love me and appreciate me. Unfortunately, no one was dumb enough to wear a New York Yankees hat today, or a Patriots hat. So this makes this a little bit more difficult. I absolutely love the Kansas Jayhawks, so this gentleman is in luck. It's not going to be him. I have to believe that the cream will rise to the top. We'll find you at some point. We will find you. This guy?
I'm not wearing one, but I love the Patriots.
There you go. It's you. Is that why no one's letting you sit in the chair? I'm just curious. No chairs for Patriots fans. On the floor. Okay. A little bit about me. Let me answer a few of the obvious questions that I get asked. Jason, you're from Ogden. Question number 1. Have you ever been shot at? Yes. But I was in Albania at the time, so different. I was on my mission, so not in Ogden, no. Question number 2, are you in a gang? People, that is ridiculous. Of course I am. Okay, so, a little bit about me. As was mentioned, I did graduate from the University of Utah. I am a big fan. Had a rough end to the season to lose 2 of our last games, but we did spot BYU 20 points in the first half and still came back and won, so no yins. There we go. I've done a lot of different things in my career, okay? I have 18 years of experience in the civil engineering field. I was just remembering back to when I sat in seminar class at the University of Utah, and it was 15 years ago. And yes, I graduated when I was 12, so I'm not that old. Anyway, 18 years of experience in the field. I started out as a surveyor. I then went into land development. I worked in the public sector as the Morgan County Engineer and Public Works Director. I was actually a high school math teacher for a brief stint. Then went back into consulting, and I started my own company, and now I do marketing. I've done a lot of jobs. The joke when I started this job was that the board that hired me set my over-under at 18 months. And I'm proud to say I've lasted 3 years next month. So, exceeded all expectations. Thank you very much. You're too kind, you really are. Okay, I am going to talk a lot about, we're going to talk about some things today. I'm going to give you some advice. That's what I'm here to do. I wish that there's lessons that I learned in my almost 20 years in the industry, in the civil engineering world, that I wish I would have had someone tell me so I could have learned them earlier. I would have got a little bit of a jump start. I'm going to share 5 things with you today, and while I'm doing that, I love to tell stories. So a lot of the stories I'm going to tell are from my career. Okay, so as we go through, I tend to get sidetracked, I tend to digress a little bit, and I just love telling stories. So when I get to that point, just maybe rope me back in if I'm running out of time there. This is a picture of my family. I have 3 amazing sons. I have 4 sons, but only 3 are amazing. Is the one dressed like Kylo Ren? I would argue that it might be the one that's resting a lightsaber on his neck. He's unique, we call him. So last time I was here, 2 years ago, a concerned student walked up to me after I made that same joke. I was pretty proud of that. Walked up and he said, you said you had 3 amazing sons and only 4. You have 4 sons and only 3 are amazing. What did you mean by that? I said, I meant it as a joke to make you all laugh and like me. And he said, but you don't actually say that to your sons, do you? And I said, no, you don't have to worry about it. The dumb one doesn't get that joke. I don't think I helped him feel any better about it. But I left it there, and to this day, 2 years later, I think he's still wondering. Does he really feel that way about his son? This is our theme. We dressed up. We're one of those families. I have one of those wives. And she's really pretty, and so I'm like, the worst I gotta do is dress up in a theme for Halloween, and she'll stay with me for another year. I'll do it. I decided to be fat Luke Skywalker this time. Not young Luke Skywalker, the fat, on a deserted island Luke Skywalker. And my son that dressed up as Kylo Ren, he's like, Dad, you should be Han Solo. Because, I'm your son, and it's father. And I said, I've seen how that movie ends, no thank you. This was this past year. This kid right here, if there's any doubt that I'm an engineer, his name's MacGyver. That's his given name, that's his true name. MacGyver. Spelled just like this TV show. Not this garbage one that's out today. We're talking, mid-80s MacGyver. Go watch it. You'll do yourself a huge favor. Go watch mid-80s MacGyver. He's obsessed with tigers, so my wife said we should do a theme, and I thought I should be the bearded lady because I feel like I have more of the body for it. But she said, no, you'll be the strong man, and I thought, well, that's a little ironic. I like it. So this was our family this past year. Anyways, that's just a little bit about my family. I now am the executive director of the Mountain States Concrete Pipe Association, and what I do, as I mentioned before, I do marketing engineering. What is that? I still don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay. A couple of things. We do have some people with us here today. These are the members of my association. We have Geneva Pipe and Precast. Honoring us with his present is actually the president of this young gentleman here. You all thought he was a student. He's actually the president of Geneva Pipe and Precast. He has a couple of other employees with him as well. Heather, we just hired her. She's a graduate of the University of Utah as well, so you can boo her later. You already booed me. Just make her feel a little bit home. And then we've got Steve, also from Geneva, and Deb. Welcome. I'm looking forward to meeting you later. We probably already met. I'm that guy. We also have Old Castle Infrastructure is also another member. We have Paul Mann from Old Castle. Thanks for coming. We also want to recognize Ash Grove and Holston, who are also members of our association. So what I do in my job now is I get paid to talk. That's it. That's basically what I do. I talk. I go around and I talk. And my wife said, "Are they paying you by the word? Because we're going to be rich." You haven't noticed, I talk fast and I talk a lot. But when I'm talking about me, that's like my favorite subject. So, and I know a lot about it. I'm kind of an expert in the field of me. Anyways, so I go around and I give training. I help engineers write specifications. I've noticed that in college they don't really have any classes about specification writing. Oh, you wait. That's going to be fun. When you get to your job, you're like, oh, this is nothing like school. I'm just writing specifications all day. Call me. I'll help you write your specs. There you go. You can kill two birds with one stone. Oh, I've never even killed one bird with one stone. Seems like an extremely difficult task, but okay. Pipe. We'll talk pipe real quick because there's a story I want to share with you about a missionary. So I feel like it's okay, right? Okay, missionaries. I was a missionary once. Buried pipe serves two purposes. Okay. The first one is it has to act as a conduit to carry something. A lot of things that I deal with is storm drain or sewer, and so it has to carry that water from point A to point B. So it has to act as a conduit. It also has to act as a structure. Okay. Concrete pipe that I go around and give trainings on and trainings to contractors on how to install, how to inspect it, how to design it. It serves both of these purposes. Okay, so it's a conduit and a structure. So when you get your donut and you see that thick wall around it, you can think, oh yeah, it's just like a concrete pipe. It has that thick wall. It's both a conduit and a structure. You can go home and tell your friends or your spouse and children. You can tell them all about how, hey, a concrete pipe is both a conduit and a structure. The donut signifies that. These are softer than concrete pipe. I will give it to you. They've been in my car for only a week and a half to try to get the full, strength of concrete, but to get that point across. So eat with caution, but still. When you eat a donut, you'll think, oh yeah, concrete pipe. That concrete pipe guy. He was really funny. I think I should call him. See how he's doing. I'll give you my phone number. You can call me anytime. It's fine. Anyway, why concrete pipe? Okay, well, durability. People like the durability. It's very, very strong and resilient. The strength, as I mentioned before, it can handle a big load. It's a structure itself, and it's a trusted product. This is a picture of a pipe that was removed from Mohawk, New York. That's a place. It was removed in 1986. It was installed in 1842. So it was over 140, almost 145 years old, this pipe. Really old pipe. They removed it not because it was structurally deficient. They removed it because they needed to upsize the line. In fact, I was just in Texas, and they have this in an office in Texas, this pipe, and I went and got to look at it, and I noticed no cracking, nothing. It's actually really sound. They just needed to upsize the line. Really fascinating how long these things will last. This takes me into my story. Anybody know about Wilkesboro, North Carolina? Anybody from Wilkesboro, North Carolina, or from North Carolina? You are?
Durham.
Durham. How close is Wilkesboro to Durham?
I'd give it like an hour or two.
See, I'm from Utah.
Okay.
And here's the thing about Utahns. We know Utah geography pretty well. But I still thought North Carolina was like in the Midwest, like I originally. It's on the coast, right? Fair enough. Okay. We're bad with Utah, with anything outside of Utah. I don't know if you know this, we are the center of the universe. So I don't know where anything is, but this happened in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I have a friend who is the assistant city engineer for Ogden City. His little brother serving a mission in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Wilkesboro, North Carolina is a small town, and they were all so excited in this city when they got their first classy, really high-class restaurant. Okay, they brought this restaurant in, and it was the talk of the town. Finally, we have a world-class eatery that we can go and attend. Taco Bell. We got a Taco Bell in Wilkesboro. They were so excited to get this Taco Bell. And then, this happened. Oh, that hurts my heart. This hurts my poor people. Oh, I know it's the best, man. It's so smart.
Yeah, yeah.
So, the missionary wrote home to the family and said, hey, we need your help. Pray for Tucker. Hashtag pray for Tucker. They're really struggling. They gotta get their taco back. These poor people look broke. My boss, I showed him this video and he goes, hey, this happened in Hickory, North Carolina in 2001. Same thing happened. Deep buried metal culvert. It collapsed, created a sinkhole. A Corvette fell into it. True story. Corvette. Look it up. Hickory, North Carolina sinkhole, 2001. How far away is Hickory?
2.5 to 3 hours from there.
Nice. This guy is spot on with his geography. I'm glad you're here. I would have been. So I looked it up, Hickory sinkhole, and it said, did you mean the one in 2001 or 2008, 2010, 2015, 2017, or 2018? And I went, oh dear. There's a lot of sinkholes in Hickory, so if you're ever bored and you want to get into one of those gnarly YouTube loops, just start watching videos about the sinkholes in Hickory, North Carolina. Fascinating stuff. Anyway, so if you would, I would implore you all to do as this missionary counsel this family to do. Please pray for Todd. This is my contact information. I told you I'd put it up here. Feel free to call me, or text me, or email me, whatever. If you have any additional questions. A couple of years ago when I was here, some students wanted some additional information. They had some questions about career path and wanted some more information about my career and what I had done. And so they called me, and I actually came back to the campus. We had a little meeting with a few of them and discussed their future and their goals and their plans and helped them kind of get on the right path. And so I'm happy to do that anytime. Any questions you have, feel free to give me a call. That's what I'm here for, to be a support and help to you. Okay, so we'll move on now from the concrete pipe section of this, and we're going to talk about the three things that I hope we get out of this. We're going to talk civil engineering professions and options. I'm going to talk about some keys that I learned in my career to be successful. And then lastly, we're going to talk about implementing those, and I'm going to share some stories on how I was able to implement some of these keys to success in my career, and hopefully it will inspire you to maybe look at things a little bit different and think about things a little bit differently. So, my question to you is, why did you decide to be an engineer? Why go into engineering? This is answer all I need, right there. Because we don't like to talk, we like to sit behind a desk. We don't like to answer questions we put on the spot. That's perfect. That's all I needed right here. We had one up here.
It's fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think I found him, guys. Right here.
I believe that if we build the right buildings, we can shape society.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, it is fun. I'm just giving you a hard time. I do enjoy it. I love what I do. And I've generally loved a lot of the jobs I've had. Not all of them. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about today. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing things built and watching them. I love driving down the road with my family and saying that's my job, and then they'd say, oh wow, this is Daddy's intersection, or this is Daddy's road, or this is Daddy's tunnel. It's really cool. I really like that. Anything else? Any other reasons why engineering? Yeah?
The credibility. People just think, wow, you must be super smart.
Oh, there it is. Yes. Yes, it's the ego. You know, it's interesting. I was a pre-med student before my mission because my mom wanted me to be a pre-med student. So, I went on my mission and grew a backbone and stood up to my mom and told her I don't want to be a doctor or a dentist or anything you want me to be. So I decided to go into engineering because I woke up one day and I realized I am far too smart to be a doctor. I'm going to be an engineer. Yeah, no, that's true. You do have credibility. I like the way you phrase that. Your true colors really came out. I want people to think I'm smart, but you masked it under this guise of credibility. I like it. You're going to be a great engineer. You're going to be a great engineer. You're already oozing the confidence, which is number two that we're going to be talking about today, having confidence. Anyway, so why civil engineering? So that's why engineering, because you like building things. You like why did you choose civil engineering? My son, my 11-year-old son, is known from the time he was born he wants to be a mechanical engineer. Loves robots, loves guns. He one day wants to build a robot that can shoot guns. Awesome. That is awesome. Not good for us. Great for him. His name is he's actually got a job offer from a company called Skynet. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. His best friend and a girl he's dating, Sarah Connor, who's a good friend. Yes.
The major reason I chose it is not because you sit behind a desk, but because I love the outdoors.
Okay.
So me and your Skynet buddy can hang out because I love guns.
Perfect. Yeah, let's do it. I'm actually a registered Democrat, and I own like 9 guns. And people are like, "You're the worst Democrat in the world." Some would argue I'm the best. Anyways, yeah, we can go out and shoot. My son loves to go hunting. Anyways, but he's known he wants to be mechanical. That's what he wants to do. I chose civil. Any other reasons why you like being outside? You like getting your hands dirty, being in it, and not being stuck behind a desk? That's good. Civil engineers, we get out in the field a lot. Any other reasons? Yeah.
I like to help build sustainable infrastructure.
Okay, sustainable infrastructure, perfect. I like it. Concrete pipe's the product for you. Anyways, I shouldn't sell my product, but seriously, think about it. Right here.
Variety.
Variety. Elaborate.
You don't do the same thing every day.
That is accurate. As I can attest, because one day I usually change jobs like 4 times in like a month, so I really don't do the same thing. Anyways, yes, I had a question, hand back here. A reason? No, I didn't. I saw things. Okay. Back here. Yes.
Oh,
see if you can one-up him. His answer was good. Let's see
We
what
like
you
to
can-
have a manual for everything.
You like to have a manual for everything? You're one of those. Did you say you like to or you don't like to have a manual for everything?
Like to.
You do. Yeah. Again, you chose the right field, my friend. You're gonna do well. So I chose engineering. I was told about civil engineering and why I always encourage people that have engineering minds why they should go into civil engineering. And I was told this when I was an engineering student, and it resonated with me. But I like the idea that it is extremely difficult to send my job to someone else overseas that will do it cheaper or faster. Okay. In civil engineering, every project I've worked on has been within a 50-mile radius of where I live. Every single one. Right? So you always have growth. You always have a need for civil engineers locally. Right? It's really difficult, and I've had companies that have tried, and they've seen what happens when you send your drafting or your design to someone outside of the state or away from, overseas even. It's really difficult. So you have to be there to meet with the city council, meet with planning commissions, meet with different people, meet on site. So that's why I like civil engineering. That's really good. Okay. Anything else? Great discussion. I love it. Yeah, right here.
I'd love to build the next wonder of the world.
Okay, the next wonder of the world. Perfect. Think you can do it?
Yeah.
I like the confidence. I like it. Statistically, it probably won't happen. But we're gonna talk later about realistic expectations. But look, I'm not gonna fault you guys for you guys are a generation of dreamers, and I respect that, and I love it. Don't let anything I say. Take that and say I'm gonna prove that strong man wrong. Anyway, so define success. What does it mean to be successful? I know this guy's definition of success. He's going to build the next wonder of the world, so he's on a different plane than the rest of us. Hey, there. I think he has wheels on it. Define success. How do you define it? If you were looking back on your career 20 years from now, like I'm doing now, and saying, I've had a successful career, how would you define it? Back to that.
I would say generally enjoying what I do and knowing that I made an impact.
Oh, perfect. perfect. Enjoying what I do and knowing what I, boy, you're a millennial, aren't you? Right here.
Exactly. I would say if I can do something that other people can't do,
Okay.
then that would be a successful.
I do love giving this presentation to millennials. I really do. You guys are so altruistic, and you have this fire in your belly that you want to help other people. And I love that, and I admire it. I don't have that, but I love it.
Reaching your goals.
Okay, reaching goals. Perfect. That's going to be number one we're going to talk about. Perfect. Anything else? Yeah, back here.
Money.
There it is. Welcome. Hey guys, we got a Gen Xer here. Money. Yes, welcome in. You look young, but you got an old soul. Here we go. What else we got? Back here.
An engineer haven't been sued yet.
Okay, you haven't been sued yet. Hey, it's not bad. Not bad. Were you on the phone call I got this morning? Because it was not a good phone. Anyway, right here.
I spent way too much time playing SimCity 3000 growing up. And
Okay.
seeing how everything came together, and I still want to play that game.
Nice. So that's building communities, and having a sense of accomplishment. I love it. Anything else? Okay, here's just a couple of ways that I define success. Happiness. We talked about it. Being happy, being content with where you're at. Wealth is another one. We talked money. Self-reliance. That's a big deal, right? Being able to take care of yourself and your family, right? Fame. Some people want that fame. Building the seventh wonder of the world. Responsibility. That's also success. I had a fair amount of responsibility. I carried through that. Self-worth obviously is important. And having satisfaction in what you've done. All right? Okay. So we're going to talk today about success in engineering. 5 things that I want to point out. I'm going to go into detail. I'm going to tell a story for each one of them. Okay. The first one is having a goal. Anybody ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill? Yeah, you have? Nice. Good book. How many times you read it?
Once.
Just once? Read it again. It'll mean something new to you. Every time I read it like 8 times. I love it. You read it too? Great book, right? Did you get it? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I read the book and I was like, what the heck was that? And then I read it again. I was like, I don't know. It took me like on my 4th read that I was like, I get it. Anyway, so read it. You're going to need to read it multiple times. Napoleon Hill was the one that gave Franklin Delano Roosevelt the line, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." Anyways, great guy. Was actually hired by the White House back in the 40s to help, or in the 30s and 40s to help get out of the economic recession. Worked for $1 in a year. So he just said, Roosevelt offered him a job. He said, I'll work for $1. So he worked a whole year for $1. He's a good guy, great guy. Did amazing things, wrote this amazing book about. And so a goal in his mind is a definite chief aim is more than a goal. Have something that you are definitely targeting in your career. Okay. Anything else? Do we have any other comments?
Why would you read a book 4 times if you didn't get it?
I am one of these stubborn people. It's like, still didn't get it. Just gotta try again. I got different things out of it. I pulled things out of it, but I didn't get the whole vision of it until about my 4th read. I'm a slow learner, so you guys are way smarter than me. You'll probably get it in your 2nd try. Anyways, so having a chief definite aim, we're going to talk about self-confidence, be uncommon in your field, stand out, have ambition and hard work, and then we're going to talk self-improvement. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about your education. You're here, you're getting an education, you're bettering yourself. What is the value of your degree? How do you value it? How do you look at it?
How much money can I get after?
Perfect. How much money can I get after it? That's good. Anything else?
I was going to say another 0 on my paycheck.
There it is, right there. That's why I got a master's degree, because I was like, I can get more money. Perfect. Okay, what did you learn in school? Up to this point, what have you learned? And then I'll share what I learned. Yeah?
How to accomplish assignments in a certain amount of time.
Okay, hit deadlines. It's going to be important.
Critical problem solving.
There it is, critical problem solving. Anything else?
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Oh, that's good too. Good. Plays well with others. Good.
How to prioritize.
Oh, very good. How to prioritize. Yeah, I missed that class. Here we go.
Time management.
Time management. Again, missed that class. Not great at that. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. Anyways, we're gonna talk. Oh, over here.
To make effective presentations.
Effective presentations. I like it. Okay, I like it. I did get that class. Anyways, back in.
How to follow instructions.
Okay, how to follow instructions. Good. These are all very important things. I want to focus on that critical problem solving thing. Okay, that critical problem solving thing to me is what I learned most. Right? How to look at a problem and be able to solve it. Okay. Your degree. What you need to understand is your degree provides option. I want to tell you a story about a friend of mine named James. We graduated together. We were very good friends. We hung out a lot in school, and I stayed back to get my master's degree, and he went on to the job field. And he calls me one day, six months into his engineering job. He says, "I hate it. hate it. I made a bad choice. Threw away 4 years of my life getting an engineering degree. I hate engineering, don't want to do it anymore. I'm done. To be fair, his personality was, I was a little confused. I was like, why are you here? He was very outgoing, very energetic, loved sports. Like, I was confused as to why he didn't get a marketing degree or something. But anyways, he just said, I hate it. I made a huge mistake. Wasted my life. What am I going to do? I don't want to work a job I hate. So I said, well, we talked and we went out to lunch, we hung out, and I said, look, man, I look at it a little bit differently than you. You spent 4 years learning how to solve problems. We have a problem here, let's solve it. What do you want to do? And he goes, I don't know, man, I just want to be involved in like sports. Like, ideally, I would like to do sports marketing. Okay, I want to do sports marketing. I said, that's great. That's a goal. Let's work towards it. What can you do with it? I don't know. So he ends up calling me. He goes, hey, there's this job offer that I can make. I would go around the country and host 3-on-3 soccer tournaments. Again, I don't know why anybody would want anything to do with soccer, but okay, I'm a baseball guy, whatever. But this is what his passion was, and he said, I think I'm gonna take this job. And I said, cool. He goes, problem is it only pays 30 grand a year. He was making like 50 or 60, so he's gonna take a huge cut in pay, right? And I said, well, if this is something you wanna do, go do it. Be the best at it. So his job, he took this job, he moved to Denver. His job was to travel around the country, set up a tournament. He would fly in on Tuesday, set up the tournament on Wednesday. They would start on Thursday night. They would go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. He'd fly home Saturday night or early Sunday morning, and then he'd take a couple of days off, and then he'd go back to the next place. He traveled all over the country doing this, and he loved it, and he was fantastic at it. And because of his problem-solving skills, he was able to efficiently maximize this company's profits and help them make more money. So he got a raise after raise after raise, and he did very well. He didn't stop there, though. He said, I want to do sports marketing. He somehow, I don't know, he's just that kind of guy, landed a job doing sports marketing for the NBA D-League down in Brazil. Okay, didn't even know they had a D-League down there. So he goes down to Brazil and starts working for the NBA. Great, awesome, good for you. Reaching his dreams, right? Set a goal, achieved it, okay? Then he decided to work for the actual NBA, moved back to the States, got a job, I guess, working for the NBA. Last I heard, he had started his own sports marketing company, like Jim Halpert on The Office. Anyone? See, dreams can come true. Anyway, this guy he used those skills, right? He had skills that he didn't have to be shackled in an office. That's not what he wanted to do. He learned to solve problems, and he used that in his life. So don't think that you're restricted by, well, I have an engineering degree. I guess I'm an engineer for the rest of my life. That's not true. You're a problem solver. Understand what you really are, okay? And what you can do to accomplish those goals you set. So we're going to talk about that. Setting goals. We talked about that. I shared the story with my friend who he set goals and he followed through on it. Okay, and then get to work. I had a goal when I took a job after I got out of teaching. I took a job and I wanted to be, in 5 years, I wanted to be a regional manager. I worked really hard. I took this job, took a huge cut in pay to go take this job because I needed the skills and I knew it would open doors for me. I went and worked this job, and in 4 years, the boss that hired me that said he was going to work 5 years, when I would gracefully step into his job, he decided he was going to work another 5 to 10 years. Kind of threw me off, right? So it changed my plans. In the words of Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Right? This was a punch in the face. But I stuck to my guns, I stayed with my plan, and I worked hard to achieve that goal. Guess what? 6 months later, I got a call from our biggest competitor that was Win and Work, and they said, we want to open an office there. How would you like to come be the regional manager in that area? It wasn't the way I had envisioned it, but I set a goal, I made a plan, I worked to that plan, and I got hired by someone else, and they gave me a 35% raise to go over there. So, not bad. It worked out pretty well, I'd say. Anyway, so yeah, that's number one. Have goals. Set goals and work towards them. Stick with them, okay? Next. Maybe. Okay, self-confidence, right? We talked about confidence. Having confidence is important, right? Confidence, I believe, is positivity towards yourself. Arrogance is different. That's negativity towards others. You're trying to push others down so you can bring yourself up. That's just my feeling there. A confident person inspires people to action, all right? And when you lack confidence, it's interpreted as weakness, okay? So I had this one time when I was working at this company, there was a big project and everyone was busy, nobody wanted to do it. It was something that I'd never done before, but nobody really knew that. But I knew I could learn it, okay? And I knew if I had the weekend and a couple of books, I believed in myself that I could learn it. So I took this project on, And I spent all week studying so that at our meeting Monday I could come in and be an expert on it. And so I knew I could do it, so I said, I'll do it. And they were like, so have you done this before? I was like, sure, something like this. I've done engineering before. So yeah. And so I did. I went and I studied and I studied and I studied. I spent all weekend becoming an expert. When I went into the meeting, they're like, oh wow, this guy has done it before. So they started giving me more work, more jobs. They started giving me more things, and I started completing them, and people were like, wow, this guy's amazing. And then I worked my way up, and then UDA started thinking, well, this guy's an expert in this. I was like, literally 6 months ago, I'd never even done this before. It was my self-confidence that could have got me into trouble. But I knew my strengths, and I knew my weaknesses. And one of my strengths was learning something really, really quick when I had a deadline. And I knew it. It took me 10 years to learn. That was my strength, but I did it, and I was successful in it. And so that confidence helped me achieve that goal of working my way up through becoming an expert with UDOT, and that opened the door later for other jobs, okay? The key is to always be teachable, all right? As engineers, I think we struggle with that a lot. I had a guy literally, this is not an exaggeration. A lot of times about 50% of what I say is exaggerated and the other 50 is made up. But this is true. This happened. This guy, I went into his office and I was asking questions. I was questioning some things he did, and I was a student and he was a graduate. He literally pointed to the degree on his wall. I was like, oh, this is not going to work out. I quit that job pretty quick. Anyways, yeah, he was arrogant. Do you have one of those? I'm like, doesn't mean you're smart. And after I graduated, I saw some of the schlubs that also had those on their wall. Sorry. Shouldn't speak down on any engineer. We're all perfect and wonderful. Anyway, be teachable though, right? Don't ever assume that you can't learn something from someone, even those younger than you that might be in school now. I think that's where we can learn the most is from this younger generation, okay? The next one, the third point, okay? Be uncommon. Stand out. Be different, okay? Don't just settle for being that engineer, right? Do something incredible, okay? Find a quality that's lacking in your industry. Maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's having a personality. I don't know. Develop that quality in yourself. One of the reasons I chose civil engineering is because I also don't like to sit behind a desk. I like to get out and talk to people. And when I was a surveyor, and I met a lot of these people that were working as engineers, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a king among men. With these people, this is unreal. I can actually speak without tripping all over myself. This is amazing. And I utilized that, and I built relationships, and I made friendships, and then people wanted to work with me, and I won projects, and I won jobs, not because I was a better engineer than anybody, but guess what? They liked to talk to me. They liked when I took them out to lunch and told them bizarre random stories about stuff that happened to me when I was in Albania. They liked that, right? Any engineer can do the job, but not every engineer can entertain you while doing the job. I found that quality. It was lacking in my industry. I built it in myself. I exploited it for my benefit and my gain. And now I get to work my dream job. 10 years ago, I met a guy who was working in this job. And my wife said, who was that? And I turned and I said, that's the guy that has my dream job. And so when he retires or dies, I know it would have been okay with me. I'm going to take it. 3 years ago, he called me and said, hey, we're hiring for this job. Would you be interested? Absolutely. I got the job. Now I get to do what I've always wanted to do, the job I was born to do. I found it. I love it. And it's perfect. So set goals, be uncommon, follow that goal. All right. Find a niche in there and perfect it. There was one thing that I did when I was working for a company. I realized there's this huge pot of like $30 million in Weber County that no one even knows about for funding for projects, and no one's using it because they don't know how to use it. Well, I learned about it because my dad was sitting on the board that distributed that money to cities. And so I started researching and learning about it, and I thought, holy crap, this is a gold mine. This is going to be amazing. So I took that and I started marketing to cities and saying, look, there's this money here.